How does a pharaoh disappear? Not in battle, not by conquest, but from memory itself. Egypt was the civilization most ferociously devoted to immortality. Its kings carved their names into the bones of mountains, built temples designed to outlast time, and erected colossal statues that still stand after 30 centuries. And yet one of its rulers came extraordinarily close to vanishing entirely. That is the puzzle at the heart of today's story, and it begins with a discovery that nobody expected to make. In early 2025, a joint Egyptian-British archaeological mission, led by Dr. Piers Litherland of Cambridge University, announced the identification of a royal tomb in the Theban necropolis on the west bank of Luxor. The tomb had first been entered in 2022 in a remote valley called Wadi Gabanat el-Karud. The team assumed they were excavating a queen's burial. What they found changed that assumption entirely. The ceiling was painted blue and scattered with yellow stars, a signature found exclusively in royal tombs. The walls carried scenes from the Amduat, the sacred text reserved for kings alone, describing the sun god's journey through the underworld. And fragments of alabaster vessels bore cartouches naming Thutmose II and his wife Hatshepsut. This was tomb C4, and it was the first New Kingdom pharaoh's tomb to be identified since Howard Carter opened Tutankhamun's in 1922. The man buried there had ruled Egypt more than 3,000 years ago, and the world had largely forgotten him. To understand why that matters, consider the world he inhabited. The New Kingdom of ancient Egypt, from roughly 1550 to 1070 BCE, was an age of imperial ambition and monumental self-promotion. Pharaohs did not merely rule, they constructed legacies designed to outlast death. At Karnak, successive kings added pylons, courts, and sacred halls across centuries, each layer inscribed with the builder's name. The mortuary temples lining the West Bank were permanent institutions, run by priests, built to sustain a king's divine presence long after his body had returned to dust. Every cartouche repeated on a temple wall was a claim on eternity. In this civilization, to be forgotten was to die a second time. Thutmose II was the fourth ruler of the 18th dynasty, son of Thutmose I, but born to a secondary wife, which meant his claim to the throne required reinforcement. He secured it by marrying his half-sister Hatshepsut, daughter of the principal queen and carrier of the full royal bloodline. His reign likely lasted fewer than 5 years. He died around 30. His mummy, found in a later cache, shows scarring that suggests a chronic illness, a king possibly weakened throughout the one life he had to make his mark. He suppressed a revolt in Nubia, led an expedition against nomads in the south, added a modest court at Karnak. No single defining act sealed his memory. When he died, Hatshepsut first served as regent for his young son, Thutmose III. Then she assumed full pharaonic titles and ruled Egypt for nearly 20 years. She was an extraordinary ruler, a brilliant builder whose mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari remains one of the most beautiful structures Egypt ever produced. And in establishing her own legacy, she quietly replaced her husband's name on several of his monuments, claiming his constructions as her own. His tomb flooded within 6 years of his burial. His mummy was removed, stripped of its context, and eventually deposited in the Great Royal Cache discovered at Deir el-Bahari in 1881, a single-shaft tomb crowded with more than 40 displaced pharaohs. The greatest rulers of the ancient world stacked together in the dark, anonymous. That is where Thutmose II ended up. Here is the remarkable irony. Hatshepsut, the woman whose dominance so overshadowed her husband, was herself subjected to one of Egypt's most systematic memory erasures. Late in his long reign, her stepson, Thutmose III, ordered her images defaced, her statues smashed, her name chiseled from walls. One generation's act of eclipse was answered by the next. This was the recognized logic of Egyptian power, and it was grounded in something deeper than politics. The ancient Egyptians called a person's name the Ren, a living part of identity, not a mere label. To erase a name from stone was understood as a literal second death, severing a person from the afterlife across all of time. Erasure was both a political act and a theological one. Pharaohs chiseled out cartouches, recarved statues, defaced reliefs. In the most extreme case, Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh who imposed a religious revolution, was erased so thoroughly by his successors that he was removed from official king lists entirely, as though he had never reigned at all. Thutmose II's fate was quieter. There was no empire-wide campaign against him. His obscurity accumulated gradually. A brief reign with no defining legend, a wife who needed his monuments to tell her story, a flood that destroyed his burial context, and successors so extraordinary that any memory of him was swallowed by their shadows, which is precisely what makes Tomb C4 so significant. It does not contain treasure. It contains evidence. Evidence that a specific man ruled Egypt, was buried with the full ceremonial weight of kingship, and was then carefully, quietly unmade. Archaeology has given him back what 3,000 years tried to remove: a name, a context, and a place in the record. The larger lesson reaches far beyond ancient Egypt. The past we inherit is never a neutral archive. It is always a record shaped by those who had the power to inscribe it, and to inscribe over what came before. Every civilization has its forgotten rulers, its overlooked voices, its deliberately minimized figures. History is not simply recorded, it is curated. The pharaoh no one remembers may have been forgotten for a reason, and that reason is precisely what makes his return to the historical spotlight so important. Archaeology, at its finest, does not simply uncover tombs. It recovers people, and it challenges the stories that power wanted to leave behind. The next time you encounter a gap in the historical record, it is worth asking, was this an accident of time, or was it a choice? I'm Arthur Winslow. Keep questioning the past. I'll see you next time.